everyone knows that the New York tech ecosystem is just a behemoth. You uniquely have an industry of people who love New York.
TechNYC represents New York City's technology industry with government, civic institutions, in business, and the media. Its primary goals are to attract tech talent to the city and to advocate for policies that will help tech companies grow. Well, okay, we're here with Julie Samuels, who runs TechNYC, which is low-key maybe the most important and powerful entity in the city.
I love that.
You work with all of the tech companies, you know everyone. What is your take on how you've seen tech evolve since you've taken the helm there?
So when we started TechNYC in 2016, tech was growing. Tech felt very optimistic, but it still was not that big. And it was still early. And when we started the organization, again, 2016, we were still talking about which city, which region of the US would be number 2 behind the Valley, which sounds crazy now. Everyone knows that the New York tech ecosystem is just a behemoth in and of itself.
Well, it's much healthier probably for the economy because you have a lot of variety. But then you think about too the way that you can integrate and apply things, right? Because you're not just in this little bubble where you're only learning about AI and talking with other people in AI. You're thinking about, and I think that's reflected in a lot of the companies in New York, is like there's tech companies in design and this and all these different industries.
This is literally the story of tech in New York. I mean, you just nailed it. I don't even need to be here. You are doing my job for me. But seriously, that is it, because it is hard and complicated and interesting to build new technologies. And that can really arguably happen anywhere when they're nascent. But figuring out how to apply them, figuring out who's going to buy them, who's going to use them, how they're going to use them, that is actually much harder in the end. It's so much more integrated into other industries that I think, long term, it is so much better for the city of New York. You'll have, things are cyclical. You'll have some industries who are really on the rise, and maybe tech's having a rough year, but then the next year it flipped. The ties that bind it to New York City really feel to me, again, much healthier than what you see in other places where things are much more insular. If you've been working in tech, someone at some point has said to you, why don't you live in the Valley? That means that pretty much everyone who works in tech in New York has a reason to be in New York. And that reason oftentimes has nothing to do with tech. Maybe they love the theater. Maybe their family is here. Maybe they've just always wanted to live in New York City. Fill in the blank. You uniquely have an industry of people who love New York. That's kind of an amazing dynamic. Over time, we'll probably lose some of that as tech gets bigger and bigger. You'll have more people coming here for jobs because they'll have no choice but to come here. In fact, just this week, the University of Maryland, I believe, came out with some new numbers where they showed all of the OpenAI jobs ranked by city in the country. And New York was first. We have the most OpenAI jobs right now. And my sense of that is because
available AI jobs.
Available, right. Job postings, jobs to be filled. And my sense of that is because it's not just a bunch of tech startups hiring those roles. It's financial firms, it's quant firms. I mean, we have AI capacity at all different kinds of tech-enabled companies all over the 5 boroughs.
I know this was a few years ago now, but it became a big topic of discussion when Amazon announced they were going to move, I think it was going to create 100,000 jobs. I'm getting some of the details wrong, but it was a big deal because Amazon was going to come here, and then there was tremendous backlash. Politically. Is that still politically the reality that you think we're dealing with? Is there still a lot of backlash against big tech companies?
So I think Amazon HQ2 not being in Queens right now, where it was supposed to be, is terrible. The short answer is yes and no. I think there's more we can do to attract companies, but not for nothing. I mean, Amazon did not build a headquarters in Queens, but has since built enormous offices all over the city, warehouses all over the city and state. Since that happened, Amazon bought the old Lord & Taylor building on 5th Avenue, which, as I understand now, is completely full. People are working there every day, and it's beautiful, and it's really interesting and amazing how they built and revived such an iconic New York building. There's still a lot of political tension around large tech companies. I can't pretend. But that's an international trend. That is not a New York specific trend, of course. You don't need to be a data scientist. You don't need to run TechNYC. You don't have to be an economics professor to understand what is so obvious, and that is that the future of jobs in New York is dependent upon tech jobs.